Well, former New Jersey Governor Christie is expected to officially announce his 2024 presidential campaign today.
That's right. Christie will again challenge Trump for the Republican nomination, more than 7 years after ending his first presidential run and endorsing the former president. The two-term Garden State governor will launch his campaign at a town hall-style event in New Hampshire tonight. After serving as an advisor to Trump's 2016 campaign, Christie has since become one of the former president's most vocal critics within the Republican Party.
Christie will be challenging several other major figures in the Republican Party for the nomination. As you can see, that filled screen. This includes former Vice President Mike Pence, North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, who are expected to also announce their candidacies this week. We expect to hear from them tomorrow. Joining us now for more on this is CBS News political director Finn Gomez. All right, Finn, I hear Christie and New Hampshire. I'm thinking, he made some strides there last year, but he does not have a whole lot of, favor from Republicans. Tell us, in this very, blown up field, in this very inflated field of people where President Trump is really the front runner by a lot.
He is.
What is Christie doing running? What do you think is in his mind?
Well, the former New Jersey governor who, as you mentioned, ran for president in 2016, he views himself as someone who can stand up and present a contrast, a sharp one, with former President Donald Trump, who is the early frontrunner in the polls, as you alluded to, Lilia. But Christie may be, he's establishing this lane because he could essentially be the only Republican contender in the race so far who is willing to openly and emphatically criticize former President Donald Trump on a regular basis, and it should be a central part of his strategy. CBS asked him last month about whether he had any concern over a fragmented electorate similar to 2016, as you recall, Lilia. That propelled, that fragmented electorate propelled Trump to win the GOP nomination during that cycle. He told us that he thought that the dynamic is completely different this time around because in 2016, no one really knew who Donald Trump was. He was this public figure and a TV star, reality TV show star, but now he's essentially a known quality. And this division really happened. It really started to fragment between Christie and Trump, who were close political allies. It really started after January 6, 2021, where Christie pointed the finger at Trump for inciting what occurred there, that attack on the Capitol on that date.
And it's interesting, Finn, because I'm with Lilia here. It's interesting to hear about a Christie presidential bid when you speak to people, voters around the country. I've never heard one person say, man, I wish Christie was in the White House. He doesn't necessarily have like that groundswell of support, but he did compete in 2016 and he, did okay. Talk to us about why he's launching his new bid in New Hampshire, considering all of that.
Errol, that's a great question because the Granite State he's basically placing all his marbles in the Granite State. Essentially, he's been visiting there pretty frequently. He's announcing there tonight, 6:30 at St. Anselm's College, an iconic location there in Manchester. But essentially, New Hampshire, which is the live free or die state, it is it's big on this sort of independent libertarian streak almost for the Republican electorate there. And also, Errol, it's important to remember that during the New Hampshire Republican primary, that primary is actually open to independent voters. Yeah. So that's what he's trying to do, is trying to appeal to those independent voters. And it does help that the popular governor Chris Sununu just announced just yesterday that he's decided not to run, essentially clearing that lane of a Trump critic, a very emphatic Trump critic to basically launch his bid, as Christie is tonight.
And going by the nostalgia, it's also where he destroyed Ted Cruz last time around.
He did, right. And one would argue, Marco Rubio, where he just really hammered him, and that, was this, essentially, Rubio kept repeating the same question after his, and it just really that was also the end for Rubio, essentially, after that debate.
Almost 2016 all over again. Finn Gomez, thanks for breaking it all down for us. Great to see you.